What's up guys, this is Tyler Moore. I'm here to break down my cover of Keep Me by Novo Amor. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so this song is in 3/4. It's in the key signature of C sharp major. And as you can see, I've tempo mapped it out here in Logic because it wasn't recorded to a click track, I'm pretty sure. If it was, it kind of flows, so I mapped it out so that way I could play it with the same kind of feel as the original. Alright, let's start with the acoustic guitars. As you can see, I've got acoustic guitar left and acoustic guitar right. Left is hard pan left, right is hard panned right. They are two different guitar takes, so I played it twice and then just hard panned them. I believe it was the Rode NT1A, pointing to the 12th fret somewhat towards the sound hole. And as you can see, I've got a CLA2A on there, which is a compressor. And then it's going into some EQ to cut some of the mud and boost some of the high end. It's a cheap acoustic guitar, so it needed some help. So here's what that sounds like by itself. I'm going to turn off the processing on it so you can hear it by itself. It just gets pushed way far back in the mix. Here's the left by itself. Here's the right. Keep me on fire. As you can see, they're both being bussed on bus 2, which is taking it to this acoustic guitar reverb. And for that, I'm using the Waves True Verb, which is just a 0.5 second decay. Next, we'll take a look at the electric guitars. The electric guitar is playing the same part as the acoustic guitar, same tuning and everything. The tuning for both of these guitars is C sharp, G sharp, C sharp, G sharp, G sharp, C sharp. So when you pair the electric with the acoustic guitars, it really fills out the sound. This is what that sounds like. The electric guitar is just a stereo output from my Helix. Here's what the electric sounds like by itself. I believe the amp was like a Fender Reverb. I've got no processing on it either. I recorded it how I wanted it to sound. As you can hear, they're not perfectly in tune, but that was okay. Next, we'll take a look at this pad. This pad I have bounced down from Omnisphere, and I've got some EQ on it to cut some of the high end. Then I've got another EQ to boost sort of this warm, bassy frequency. And this is playing the same exact thing throughout the entire song. But then at the end here, it fades out. Next, we've got the piano. The piano starts out playing just one note. It kind of complements one of the guitar parts. This is the piano V2 from Arturia. I'm using a classic U3 player, which is an upright piano. The only thing I've modified is the EQ of it, and I've turned down the output. And that's going into a CLA2A, which isn't going to be doing anything in this section because it's such a quiet part, but it just barely touches it once you hit the louder parts. Let's see if we can find a really loud part. Yeah, right there. Just taming those transients a little bit, and then that's going into a plate reverb. Here's what it sounds like without those. Just controls it a little bit. Then here at the end, it complements this little section in the outro. As you can hear, it's not perfectly played in time, but I played it how I played it, and I was okay with it. Next, we've got this Twinkles patch, which is what I named it. It's going into Omnisphere, and it's using an MT24 flute patch and string patch. And then it's got some EQ chopping off the high end. And that's what this is what that sounds like. It's really quiet and in the background. Next, we're going to take a look at one of my favorite parts of this cover, and that's the cellos. I believe I used Tina Guo library from Contact. I've bounced them down though, and I didn't EQ them at all. I didn't do any processing to them. They just sounded great out of the plugin. This is what the plugin sounds like. I've got two cellos. The second cello only plays in this first instrumental section with the first cello. This is what they sound like together. They sound so good. Then when it comes to the bridge, there adds this violin part, which is the BBC Symphony Orchestra from Spitfire Audio. I'm just using the long violin one. That sounds like this. So when you take that line and pair it with the super realistic sounding cello, it sounds really nice. Next, we'll take a look at the drums. So the drums are just Addictive Drums 2 from Excellent Audio. For this one, I've tuned down the snare and the kick drum. The snare is tuned down 6 semitones, and the kick is tuned down 10 semitones. It sounded like they were pitched down and kind of weird in the original recording, so I wanted the same vibe, so that's what I did. And this is what it sounds like by itself. It's a super simple drum part. I played this on my electric drum set. I've since sold that set, but it works. You can hear those little ghost notes. That really helps it feel like a real drum set. Next, we'll check out the bass. The bass has probably the most processing on it, other than the vocals, which we'll get to next, but it's going into a compressor, which is just the stock Logic compressor, going into an EQ, which really looks bad, but it helps it stick out in the mix. And then it's going into R bass, which is boosting 80 Hertz, which is, it's not just boosting it, it's like a sub-octave generator, so it's adding some special character to it. And this is what that sounds like by itself. Without the processing. With it. And that was just my Squier J bass going DI into the interface. Alright, now the part most of you are probably waiting for. We'll check out the vocals. Alright, we'll start with the lead vocals. The lead vocal has an RVox on it, which is a compressor. And then it's going into an EQ, which is just cutting some mud and some harsh frequency. C4, that's just taming some of the high end on a multi-band compressor. It's kind of creating the same vibe of the ribbon mic that he's using. And then I'm going into a de-esser, just to catch the harsh S's. And then that is being bussed on bus 1 and 3. We'll check that in a second, but here's what the lead vocal sounds like by itself. Adore
to live in. I'm hoping it stays a while in the space you were in. I froze.
Alright, so the buses, that is Vox Verb and Vox Slap down here. So the Vox Verb is just a plate reverb. That's a 3.2 second decay. So I know it sounds like a lot, and it's at full wet because I'm bussing it. And then it's getting EQ'd, the top end and the low end out. And then for the Vox Slap, it's just a H delay here from waves. It's a 63 millisecond delay with no feedback at full wet. And it's chopping out some of the high end, again, to make it feel a little more analog. And then that creates this sort of vibe.
And I reckon I missed it.
Here's what the verb sounds like by itself.
Keep me on fire.
Then add the slap back.
Keep me on fire.
Just adds a little bit of character to it. So then you add first harmony and second harmony. The first harmony comes in before the second one, even though the first harmony is panned almost all the way to the left, and then the second harmony is panned almost all the way to the right. This is what the vocals sound like by themselves.
I know there's gotta be something,
And the harmonies are getting the same exact processing as the lead vocal.
say in time, but I can't find the words.
Here comes in the second harmony.
Keep me on fire.
We'll skip to the bridge.
Keep me honest, keep me kind, keep me as your finish line. Keep me on fire.
Next on the master bus, we have Ozone 8 from Isotope. It's really just EQing a little bit of the top end out, and then dynamic EQ, which is controlling some of the low mids, and then the maximizer, which is a limiter basically. It's making it louder. So then all together, starting from the bridge, sounds like this.
Keep me honest, keep me kind, keep me as your finish line. Keep me on fire.
So this has been my breakdown of Keep Me by Novo Amor. I hope you guys liked it. I'm going to try and do more of this style of content every now and then. I hope it wasn't too awkward. This is my first time talking to the camera, but I'll see you guys later.